Big man. So this is what happened actually in the Tyre model. We didn't stop there. We had some improvements also on how the rolling resistance is affected by the tire pressure. So probably we don't even need this. Let's do it free, like that. So practically, until now, we had, so let's say that this is the pressure. Okay, so you go up with the pressure from here, and this is what happens to the rolling resistance with pressure. Okay, the more rolling resistance you have to the tires, that's pretty much straightforward. At some point you have the optimal pressure here. Okay, let's say that the optimal pressure is somewhere around here. Okay, which give you a certain amount of rolling resistance. And obviously here you have the best grip, so you want to be somewhere around here because that will give you a decent rolling resistance and the best possible lateral and longitudinal grip. Cool, no problems. But if you keep raising the pressure, then the rolling resistance would keep going lower and lower and lower, so you had less and less and less rolling resistance. Nice. Okay. Now obviously that wasn't correct. So what is happening now is that this thing changes in something like that. Okay, let's put it like this so that we can show something nice. Okay, something like that. So this is now our new model in terms of, let's make it blue, which is more exciting. This is now our new model practically. Why is that better? Because obviously it's not like you are gonna raise the rolling resistance to infinity, the pressure to infinity. You're gonna have a balloon and the rolling resistance will magically go down to zero. That never happens. Okay, at some point the tire, by the way, slick tires, which also have a big adhesive component, so they do stick to the ground, okay? At some point, you gain a little bit of less rolling resistance, but then it flattens out slowly and you don't gain too much. And the same happens when you lower the pressure. At some point, it's not like it's gonna go up to infinity, okay? Now, why is this important? Because some of the aliens, with the first system, they would exploit the tire pressure. They would give as much downforce as they could on the car, all right? And they would raise the tire pressure as high as they could manage it. Somewhere around here, let's make this orange, okay? And that what would mean? Would mean that with lots of downforce, they would gain the lateral grip that they were missing because they had higher pressures, okay? But they could counter exploit the high drag from the high downforce because the rolling resistance would go very low. Okay, so they would be fast on the straights, good grip from the high downforce, even though the drag was high enough. This is not cheating, this is exploitation. They tried, and they find out a way to, go over what we thought would be realistic, and they would use something not realistic. Luckily, with this kind of model here, they cannot do it anymore. So this is why some of the old setups that you might have get from some aliens, and that you might have seen if you guys have found older setups, that they are made to work with 28.5, 29 psi of pressure. Nowadays with 1.6 doesn't work anymore. The car slides around. Why? Because you're losing the grip. You get lots of drag. You cannot go fast anymore. Now, obviously, together with that, we didn't stop just to the rolling resistance. But as you know, the size, the area of the footprint changes with the pressure, right? And you get the optimal footprint and other characteristics of the tire with the correct pressure. So this usually is something like that, let's say. Okay. So practically, you have your footprint that becomes ideal on around the correct pressure. Okay. Extra data, a little bit of talking with the engineers. Turns out that this is correct, but it needs to be a little harder. Okay, so now this is why when you have now with 1.6 you have your tires that are cold, you slide more, you have more problems. Why? Because now you have something like this, you see, so when you go outside the pressures, you start having more issues. Again, there is fine-tuning to be made, but this is what is happening now. Okay, so all of this together bring a new dimension to the tire modeling and the sensations that you get, and obviously the performance of the cars. So you need to be more precise, even though with the pressures, even though the new tire model lets you work more with the tire. Okay, so with your steering inputs, you can do more, you can ask from the car more, the car will give you more support, and so on and so on. Okay, so this happens to all the tires, being 2018, 2019 tires, or the new 2020 tires. This happens with everything.